The text came in just after midnight. No greeting, no explanation, just 3 sentences. I've met someone else. I'm not coming back. I'm sorry. My name is Jason Hale. I'm 46 years old, a regional IT systems analyst for a medical logistics company based in Raleigh. I've always been a quiet guy, responsible, predictable. I took care of the bills, the house, and her for over a decade, and apparently that made me easy to leave. But what she didn't know is that I'd already started preparing for this moment. I read it twice, then once more just to let the finality of it settle in. The woman I'd been married to for 11 years had decided to end it from a resort hotel in Miami on a so-called girls' trip using a text message. She had also, I noticed, transferred the remaining balance of our joint account less than 2 hours before. She must have assumed I wouldn't notice. She was wrong. I didn't panic, didn't call her, didn't beg. I just sat back in the kitchen chair, took a sip from my coffee, and opened my banking app. The transfer had gone through. She took everything, or so she thought. What she didn't know was that I had emptied that account 5 days earlier, moved the money into a personal account in my name only, one she didn't know existed. All she'd taken was air. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then typed back just one line. That's fine. Check your balance again. No insults, no drama, just a quiet mirror held up to the choice she'd made. A minute passed, no reply, then 3 dots, typing, then nothing. I could picture her face, smug at first, then confused, then furious. I imagined her refreshing the page again and again, watching the 0 stay right where it was. People think revenge is loud, yelling, throwing things, destroying property, but real revenge, the kind that actually matters, is cold, calculated, and silent. You don't strike back with fire. You let the silence tell the story. You let them trip over their own expectations. She had no idea I'd seen this coming. No clue that I'd been preparing for months. I've never been the loud type. I don't yell, I don't slam doors, but I do notice things. I track patterns, shifts. I pay attention, and especially when something stops feeling right. Her texts started getting shorter. Her nights out started turning into whole weekends. She changed her phone passcode, started working late even when I knew her job didn't require it. I didn't accuse, didn't stalk, didn't hack anything. I just watched and took notes, because people who lie eventually expose themselves. All you have to do is give them room. The last conversation we had before she left for her girls' trip was oddly polite. She kissed me goodbye, did her usual don't wait up, tossed her suitcase in the trunk, sunglasses on, like she was off to a spa, not a staged disappearance. I stood in the driveway, waved, and then I went back inside, opened my laptop, and started moving things. She thought I was passive, thought I was naive, thought she was smarter. But I knew what she was doing, and more importantly, I knew what I was going to do once she did it. She thought she was making the first move, but I'd made mine weeks before. I just let her play catch up. You don't usually notice the first crack. It's not a fight, not a big lie. It's smaller than that. It's the way she started locking her phone at dinner, the way her laughter stopped, including me, the way she started saying, "You wouldn't get it," when I asked about her day. Little shifts, barely noticeable, but once you see them, you can't unsee them. I knew something was wrong before she ever booked that trip, but I didn't say anything. I waited, because silence, when used right, can be sharper than confrontation. We met 12 years ago at a networking event. She was in marketing. I'd just gone full time with my accounting firm. She liked my calm. I liked her ambition. We clicked fast, too fast maybe, moved in together within 6 months, married within 18, and for a while it worked. We were good, steady. She had her goals, I had mine, and we supported each other until we didn't. The shift happened quietly. She got a promotion, more money, more hours, more travel. I was proud of her. Still am, if I'm honest. But somewhere between the business flights and late night meetings, something got lost. We stopped eating dinner together, stopped laughing at the same jokes, stopped asking each other how we really were, and eventually I stopped being her partner and became her roommate. I started noticing little things, a receipt for a brunch she never mentioned, a charger she left plugged in, not for any device she owned, a voicemail from someone named Tyler that she quickly deleted. When I asked about him, she rolled her eyes. Just a coworker, relax. So I did, at least outwardly. Internally, I began preparing. I reviewed all our accounts, not just the joint one, but the backup savings, the credit cards, the shared logins. I checked the deed on the house, the car lease, every subscription, every insurance policy, every legal document. I didn't move anything yet, but I mapped it all. If I needed to disappear cleanly, I could. I also started observing her patterns when she left the house, how long she was gone, who she texted during dinner, who she smiled at while looking down at her phone. And the more I noticed, the calmer I got. I wasn't angry. I was building a timeline. I knew something was coming. And when it did, I wasn't going to yell. I was going to be ready. The first time she mentioned the girls' trip, it felt rehearsed, like she'd practiced the wording in the mirror. I really need this. I haven't had a reset in forever. I nodded. Where are you going? Just the coast. Me, Michelle, and Tasha. I raised an eyebrow. She hated Tasha. It'll be good for all of us. Bonding time. That's when I knew. She wasn't going on a girls' trip. She was leaving. I didn't tell her I knew, didn't confront her. Instead, I checked our joint account that night. She'd transferred $500 to her personal checking, the first in what would become a series of test withdrawals. She thought I wouldn't notice, but I was an accountant. Not noticing was never an option. The next day, I moved half of our remaining balance to a new account, in my name only. 2 days later, I moved the rest, quietly, legally, without alerting any flags. Then I removed her as an authorized user on all our cards, paused the joint line of credit, unlinked our shared payment apps. She didn't notice a thing. She left on a Thursday, kissed me like everything was normal, said she'd be back Sunday night. I stood in the driveway and watched her drive away. No tears, no begging, just calm. Because I knew something she didn't. I wasn't going to stop her. I was going to let her go. And when she thought she'd taken everything with her, she'd realize she was the one left with nothing. She texted me 2 hours after landing. Just touched down. Love you. It was the first I love you she'd sent in over 2 weeks. That alone was suspicious. People don't start being sweet out of nowhere. Not when things have been ice cold for months. I sent back, glad you made it safe. That was it. No heart emoji, no smiley face, just plain. Deliberate. She didn't reply. By that evening, her phone started going dark for longer blocks of time. No check-ins, no updates, not even a photo of the hotel view. It was like she'd vanished. But I knew she hadn't. I logged into the cloud account connected to her tablet, the one she never bothered to log out of. Location services were still on. She wasn't at the coast. She was in Las Vegas. I sat back in my office chair, looking at the blinking pin on the map. So much for Michelle and Tasha. I took a screenshot. Then I opened our shared credit card account. She'd used it 3 times that day, not for spa treatments, but for room service and drinks. The name on the receipts matched the hotel. 2 guests, King Suite, champagne bar tab for $187. I didn't get angry. I took more screenshots. The next night, she texted again, going out for karaoke. Don't wait up. I smiled. Not because I believed her, but because I already knew. She hadn't left the hotel all day. She and Tyler had stayed inside. I know that because I saw the selfies. He posted them to his Instagram, public, open profile, her hand in his, her drink beside his, her face beaming. She'd untagged herself, of course, but digital footprints are messy. I saved everything, built a little folder on my desktop, trip receipts, just in case. Not for revenge, but for proof. because sometimes the people who lie the most are also the ones who swear they'd never do you dirty. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't even going to confront her. I was going to let her keep walking forward right into the wall she'd built herself. On the third day of her trip, she drained the joint account, left just $4.17. I got the notification from our bank app while folding laundry. She thought I hadn't noticed her test transfers. She thought I wouldn't see this one. She thought I was at home, quietly eating leftovers and wondering if she missed me. But I had already moved every dollar that mattered. All she got was dust. That's when she sent the message. Hey, don't freak out, but I moved some money. I'll transfer it back Monday. No apology, no explanation, just like everything else, clean, detached, cold. I didn't reply, didn't need to. That night, she posted a boomerang on her story, 2 glasses clinking against a sunset. Caption, new beginnings, champagne toast. She thought she was being clever, but the real story wasn't in what she posted. It was in what she didn't know. Back home, I filed the final paperwork. House deed transfer, bank authorization revocation, digital account separation. I'd already backed up everything. I'd already removed her as beneficiary. Everything she thought she had access to, gone. Not stolen, just reclaimed. She left me. She just didn't realize I'd already left her months ago. Sunday night came and went. No heading home text. No flight was delayed excuse. Just silence, which ironically was louder than any lie she could have told me. By Monday morning, I knew it was time. I brewed a pot of coffee, fed the dog, sat down at the kitchen table with my phone face up in front of me. 8:12 a.m., a buzz, blocked number, then a text from a new one. I think it's best if we go our separate ways. I've met someone. It's serious. That was it. No tears, no guilt, no sense of loss. She didn't even bother using my name, just tossed the entire marriage into a generic breakup template. I waited a few seconds. Read it again. She wasn't coming back. Not for her clothes, not for closure. She thought she was dropping a bomb. She had no idea I was the one holding the detonator. 2 minutes later, the banking app buzzed. She'd tried to move the last of our joint savings. She must have assumed the transfer would go through, like the one before. But this time, it was declined, then flagged, then frozen. She tried again. Smaller amount, still nothing. Then my phone rang, not hers, but the bank's. Fraud alert. Unusual access request. I confirmed the lock myself, spoke to the manager personally. Let it sit, I said. Don't move a thing. She doesn't have authorization. She texted again, this time with more fire. What the hell is going on with the account? I needed that money. No more, I'm sorry. No more, we need space. Just confusion, entitlement, panic. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my files, found the screenshots, the transfers, the location tags, the photos from her boyfriend's public profile, and I smiled. Not out of spite, but satisfaction. She thought she was playing chess, but I'd already walked off the board. 2 hours later, she called. I let it go to voicemail. A few minutes after that, she left a message. I think we need to talk. Can you please call me back? I might have acted impulsively, but we can figure this out. Now she was walking it back, not because she missed me, not because she had regrets, but because she realized she'd left without a parachute, and the ground was coming fast. I texted one line, check the account balance again. 3 dots appeared. Typing, stopped. Started again. Stopped. Then silence. It stayed that way for the next 20 minutes. Then my phone rang again. Her name this time. I let it ring. Voicemail. You emptied it before I could. You planned this. I can't believe you're being this petty. Petty. That was the word she chose. Not deceitful. Not dishonest. Not selfish. Petty. I sat on the patio, phone on silent, just listening to the birds. No stress. No anxiety. I had nothing left to lose because she'd already taken what she wanted. or so she thought. Truth was, I'd already let go of her months ago. I just hadn't told her yet. The next day, her sister messaged me. Awkward, apologetic. I didn't know she was actually going to do that. We thought she was just having a midlife crisis. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I thanked her. Told her I wasn't surprised. Told her I wasn't angry either. Because once you accept what someone's capable of, it's easier to let go. On Wednesday, I met with a lawyer, friendly guy, quick. I brought him a flash drive with everything, the texts, the Instagram posts, the account activity. He didn't even blink. Honestly, you've done 90% of the work already. By Friday, the divorce paperwork was filed, uncontested, because she didn't have a leg to stand on, no assets in her name, no proof of wrongdoing on mine, no leverage. Only a man who let her walk into her own trap and shut the door behind her. A week later, I got one last message. I thought I'd be happier. That one made me pause, not because I felt bad, but because I knew it was true. She thought leaving me would feel like freedom. Instead, it felt like free fall. No safety net, no fallback plan. Just her, a duffel bag, and a man she barely knew, who didn't stick around after the money stopped flowing. She came back on a Monday afternoon. No warning, no call, just the sound of tires in the driveway and a knock at the front door. I didn't answer right away. I watched her through the peephole. Same suitcase she left with, same oversized sunglasses. But her posture was different now. Not confident, not entitled. She looked like someone who'd just learned that the road back wasn't paved with apologies, but consequences. When I opened the door, she smiled. Small, awkward, defensive. Can we talk? I let her in, not because I owed her anything, but because I wanted her to see what she'd walked away from. The living room was spotless, framed photos removed, her books boxed. She looked around. You've cleaned up? I nodded, didn't offer her a seat. She stayed standing. I know what I did wasn't right, she started, but maybe we could. I held up a hand, reached to the table, and slid a folder toward her. Her name was on the top page. She flipped it open. Divorce papers. She blinked. You already filed? I nodded once. You emptied the accounts. You planned this? No, I said calmly. I protected myself. You made your choice. I made mine. She sat down without asking. Started flipping through the papers like she was looking for a lifeline in the fine print. We should talk about this, about how to split things. I almost laughed. Split? She didn't realize it yet, but there wasn't anything left to split. The house was in my name, always had been. The car leased under my business. Her name wasn't on any of the savings, not anymore. All legally handled weeks before she booked her trip. You can't just lock me out of everything. I didn't, I said. You removed yourself. She looked at me, genuinely confused. You're being cold. I nodded. I learned it from you. She flinched. Not because I raised my voice. I didn't. But because it was the first time I said it out loud. The mirror was up now, and there was no looking away. She left without signing anything. Stormed out like a victim in a drama she wrote herself. But 2 days later, I got an email. Subject, I'll sign if you'll talk. I didn't reply. Instead, I had my lawyer send her a breakdown of the division. It was simple. No alimony, no shared assets, no access to anything in my name, just a clean exit. All she had to do was walk. 1 week later, the signed papers came back. No note, no call, just her signature at the bottom of a document that finalized what she'd started. Freedom, but not the kind she imagined. Because freedom without foresight is just another word for starting over from zero. Later that month, I ran into one of her old friends at the store. She didn't know the full story, just bits and rumors. She's really not doing well, she said quietly. I think she thought the guy was going to take care of her. I didn't comment, didn't need to, because the people who knew me also knew I wasn't the type to just move on without thinking things through. I never changed the locks. She never tried to come back because I think deep down, she knew the locks didn't matter. She wasn't locked out by force. She was shut out by truth. And once you've burned a bridge with someone who built it brick by brick, there's no rebuilding it with sorry. I didn't date right away, didn't jump into rebound flings or post cryptic healing quotes online. I focused on me, my health, my business, my peace. For the first time in years, I slept soundly, not because everything was perfect, but because nothing was hidden anymore. About 3 months after the divorce finalized, I got a letter. Handwritten. It wasn't from her, it was from her mother. She's not herself. She doesn't know what she wants. I know she hurt you, but maybe you could talk. I didn't respond. I didn't blame her mom, but I wasn't going to fix her daughter's mess either. There are some fires people have to sit in on their own, and she wasn't ready to leave the flames. I heard from a friend that she tried to move back in with her sister. Lasted 2 weeks. Apparently the sister had conditions. No partying, no bringing Tyler around, and definitely no drama. She couldn't manage any of it, so she left. Again. I saw her one more time at a gas station of all places. She looked smaller, not physically, just dimmer. She nodded at me, didn't smile, didn't say a word, neither did I. Not out of cruelty, out of peace, because there was nothing left to say, and sometimes silence is not an absence, it's a verdict. Some people think closure comes with confrontation, with screaming matches, slammed doors, dramatic monologues about betrayal, but I learned something different. Closure isn't loud. It's not delivered through shouted accusations or courtroom verdicts. Closure is the moment you stop rehearsing what you'll say, because you realize you don't have to say anything at all. That's where I was months later, not angry, not even hurt anymore, just done. Life didn't magically fix itself the day she left. There were days when the house felt too quiet, when I'd instinctively reach for 2 mugs instead of 1. Muscle memory is hard to kill, but slowly the quiet became comforting. My evenings were filled with peace instead of tension. Dinner didn't feel like a hostage negotiation, and my finances, flawless. I started running again, woke up early, beat the sunrise, ran 5 miles every morning just to remind myself that I could. It wasn't about fitness. It was about motion, momentum, putting one foot in front of the other and leaving the past behind, one stride at a time. I wasn't trying to move on from her. I was trying to move toward myself. People asked questions. Some friends were supportive. Others danced around the topic. What happened? Did she cheat? Do you still talk? I always gave the same answer. She made her decision. I made mine. That was all they needed to know. The truth lived in my posture, in the stillness of my tone, in the calm that no longer cracked beneath the surface. Her name stopped coming up. Our mutuals moved on. The gossip cooled, and life, as it always does, kept going. My work picked up. My focus sharpened. I landed 2 new long-term clients and finally launched the side project I'd been putting off for years. Funny how grief clears space, like it bulldozes everything fake so you can rebuild something real. One evening, I was cleaning out the hall closet when I found her wedding shoes, still in the box, still wrapped like a relic. For a moment, I stood there thinking about that day, how happy we looked, how certain we were. Then I closed the box and donated them the next morning. Somebody else could use that symbolism. I was done with it. I didn't hear from her directly again, not for a long time, but one day I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside a card, just 4 words. I hope you're well. No name, no signature, just the handwriting I knew by heart. I didn't respond, didn't need to, because I was better than well. I was finally whole again. 6 months after the divorce, I took a trip, not a guy's trip. Not a post-breakup fling, just solitude. Rented a cabin 2 hours out, no cell service, no distractions, just a fireplace, a journal, and time. I wrote down everything, not for revenge, not to tell my side, just to understand it all, to take inventory of the hurt and quietly leave it there on paper. That weekend, I came back lighter. Not because the pain disappeared, but because I'd stopped feeding it, stopped letting it define me. She had ended the marriage, sure, but I had ended the pattern. And that mattered more. I eventually started dating again, carefully, cautiously, not with a chip on my shoulder, but with better eyes. I wasn't looking for a replacement. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just wanted to share peace, the kind I'd earned, with someone who understood what it cost to get there. And one day I found someone who did. But that's not part of this story. That's something new. And this is about the end. A year after she left, I passed her on the street. She didn't see me, or maybe she did and looked away. Either way, I kept walking, didn't slow down, didn't smile, didn't stare, just moved. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply not stop for the people who paused your life. People always ask, what would you say to her now? I used to imagine that, a big speech, a perfect moment, a crowd of witnesses. But the truth, I wouldn't say anything because my silence says everything. She left for freedom. I found peace. She emptied the account. I refilled my life. She ran towards something new without realizing she was running from the only thing that had ever been steady. So, no, I don't want revenge. I don't want her to suffer. I just want her to remember she didn't leave a fool. She left a man who knew exactly what she was doing and let her do it anyway. Because the calmest revenge is rebuilding better without needing to destroy them first.